You're watching Bears Now by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Harrison Graham. It is mailbag time, so get those questions in by using hashtag Bears or by super chatting. That way producer Jack can find all of your questions. All right, Sean the Savage is first up here, hashtag Bears. Thoughts of Kirk, Chark, Mooney, wide receiver core? Like it. And MVS or Lazard as your third, fourth receiver is what I meant. Okay, so Sean asked a question in our other mailbag as well. I don't think you're going to sign Kirk, Chark, and VS or Lazard. I just don't think. I think Marquez, Valdez, Scantling, and Lazard want to be at least a wide receiver 3 if they're going to sign with a different team. So I don't think that's likely. I would love it if MVS is your number 4. He's just your deep threat that gets 25 snaps a game. But I don't think that he's going to accept that role if he leaves the Packers. Ethan Eli, sign Anthony Walker or Devondre Campbell at linebacker? Yes. I think Campbell's going to be too expensive, but Anthony Walker, he's an Eberflus guy. They know each other. I think he could be a great Mike if you're going to keep Roquan at will. I say keep him at will. If you're going to play him at will, which is where Darius Leonard played in the Colts defense. But, I think you sign him for a reasonable contract, Anthony Walker, and you've got 2 good linebackers. And then, maybe there's a competition at that Sam linebacker spot. Maybe Trevathan fills that role for 1 season. Allen Watson, top free agent we should go after. I would really like Chris Godwin. I don't want to pay him over $20 million a year, but I would really like him in this offense. Obviously, I would love Devontae Adams, but I just don't think the Bears are going to pay $30 million for him. If they sign him, I'm not going to complain. I just don't think it's very likely for a multitude of reasons. 1, I don't think the Packers let him loose. And 2, he's going to cost a lot. I like Godwin. I like some of these second-tier receivers. I like some of these centers that are out there. Jensen, Brian Allen, Bozeman. There's guys out there. There's going to be good players. Aaron Shaw Maleffel. Who would be the best corner to get between the draft or free agency? Draft got to watch Roger McCreary. We've got that CB targets that we can flash real quick. We mentioned this on our players to watch at the Combine video. These are some names to watch. Kyer Elam, maybe a round 1 guy, same as Daxton Hill. They're kind of fringe, round 1, round 2. Right now, Jalen Petrie, Kyler Gordon. Petrie kind of a safety corner hybrid. Gordon out of Washington is a good player. I think those are guys to keep an eye on in the draft. And then, in free agency, I don't think they'll swing big at a Stephon Gilmore or a J.C. Jackson, but you could get into that second-tier cornerbacks like Jarvarius Ward or, Patrick Peterson, someone like that. Michael 20-man, what do you think about getting 2 of 3 with Lazard, Kirk, or Chark, then getting a proven O-lineman in free agency? Possible? Yeah, I think it's very possible. I think Lazard you can get for, 5, 6, 7 million. Kirk maybe 9, 10 million, and then you get a quality lineman. That would eat up a lot of your cap, but you can certainly make some other cap moves to clear out some space. Then you sign a center or a guard or a tackle, and that's a pretty good free agency haul for sure. Who's the name? If you traded up to 15 and Chris Olave and Kyle Hamilton were there, who would you pick? Well, number 1, trading up to 15 is going to cost an arm and a leg and, multiple future picks. So to move up from 39 to 15, that's probably too expensive. I love Olave. I might take Hamilton, though. I don't think Hamilton's going to be there at 15. But, if I traded up for one of these guys, you need a receiver more, but Hamilton's a better prospect, so can't really go wrong either way. All right, FGB, if you hate the Packers, spam it in the comments. Screw Green Bay. Get the chat popping. Type FGB. You guys know what F stands for. I don't have to fill in the blanks there. FGB. Spam it in the comments. King DJ, sign Gilmore, ? Favorite show on YouTube. Appreciate that. Subscribe if you haven't. And everyone else, youtube.com/BearsNow. Free daily Chicago Bears videos. Gilmore, I just think someone's going to give him like $14 million, I bet. Yeah, I could see someone doing it. So I don't think the Bears will be that team. He's over 30. I'd give him like $10 million, but I think he's going to get more money elsewhere. Jeff Schultz says the defensive line, what does it look like in the new 4-3 scheme? Well, you got we can show the depth chart. We got the defensive line depth chart. This is kind of how it shakes out right now. You've got Khalil Mack and Robert Quinn coming off the edge, which you certainly like. But defensive tackle is the question mark. Does Eddie Goldman return? I don't think so. Maybe he does, but he didn't do much this year. Akiem Hicks, Bilal Nichols are free agents. Maybe Kairos Tonga starts at one of those spots and you sign a proven 3-tech at the other spot. Maybe you bring back Hicks or Nichols to play that role. Maybe. But edge rusher, you're in a good spot because you've got Quinn, Mack, and Travis Gibson and Mario Edwards, 4 good edge rushers. But the interior is what you got to keep an eye on. Kevin Bollig, do you think Hicks stays on to help step in for younger defensive tackles like Peters did last year? Maybe. I could see a team throwing $8-9 million a year at Akiem Hicks, though, and I don't think the Bears will do that. So it really comes down to how the Bears view him. What Hicks wants to do, does he want to chase money? Does he want to stay in Chicago? Is he willing to take less to stay in Chicago under a new regime? It's possible, but, I think those questions could be cleared up in the next couple of weeks. Patrick, what about Sammy Watkins? Pass. Too many injuries. I can't pay Sammy Watkins real money because he can't stay healthy. I like him, but he can't stay healthy. Mr. Inglewood, is Calvin Ridley still on the table, and is he a number 1 receiver option? Yes, he's a number 1 receiver option. Is it on the table for the Bears? I don't know. We haven't really heard from Calvin Ridley specifically. We've heard the reports, the rumors that, if he returns, him and the Falcons will probably agree to trade him. Look, if you can trade your second for him, I'd probably do it. I know that it costs you one of your 5 draft picks, but Calvin Ridley in 2020 had like 1,400 yards. This is a number 1. Darnell Mooney is your number 2. Who cares who your number 3 and beyond are? You've got a damn good 1-2 punch. Adam Ruse, do you think we wait to get a receiver in the draft instead of free agency? They're going to sign at least one of these guys in free agency, I believe, because you don't have any receivers. You've got Darnell Mooney, and that's it, So, Daz Newsome ain't going to be your number 2 receiver, so, yeah, you're going to have to at least sign 1, if not 2 guys in free agency, and then, take a look in the draft as well. Now, this Bears hoodie is a good-looking one for one, and it's only $39.99 at chatsports.com/Bears hoodie. Going to keep you warm throughout the rest of the winter and on into the spring. And, next fall and winter when the Bears are playing in frigid Soldier Field, you can rep this thing as well. chatsports.com/Bears hoodie. That link is in the comments, in the description of this video. Pick one up today and check out this Bears hoodie. Alan Watson, appreciate the super chat. Trade Robert Quinn, prospect has never been higher. You mean his value's never been higher? Yeah, look, you're never going to have better value for him than right now from here until the rest of his career. He's over 30. He's coming off an 18.5 sack season. I get all that. But I'm not just going to trade him for like a third. Would I do it for a second and something? Maybe. I saw an idea proposed, and this was intriguing to me. Robert Quinn for Calvin Ridley straight up. I would probably do that. Travis Gibson can start opposite of Khalil Mack. Maybe you draft an edge rusher on day 3 to help, bolster the depth. I would consider that for sure if Ridley, if he checks all the boxes and if he's ready to return full-time. Soul Search, do you think that Tarik is done in Chicago? Ryan Poles kind of dodged Tarik Cohen's medical status, and he said in general he's not going to talk about injuries. I don't know, man. The last we heard from Cohen, he said he's not returning until he fully trusts his knee, and he didn't appear to be there yet. It's a bummer what's happened with him. The injury, has really been tough for him to deal with. There was a setback at some point. He hasn't played in almost 2 years. I hope he's back. I hope he's back and he's a factor on this team, but I could see him getting cut. Levante Rogers, what position do you see the Bears spending the least money on but can get a really good player for cheap? Great player for cheap? Good player for cheap. Maybe like your second safety spot, you can get a proven vet for somewhat cheap. That could be a possibility. Maybe center, you go a little cheaper, but you get a good player. That's possible. Defensive tackle, but these like flashy positions like receiver, corner, it's hard to get good players for cheap. Maybe like a veteran CB2 you can get for cheap. That's possible, but great players for cheap, the only way you're getting that is in the draft. Josh Parando, I saw a report the Packers are working on a deal for Rodgers. Say he comes back. How is a team in their cap situation going to be able to sign Rodgers and Adams? Well, they'll have to restructure a lot of deals, cut some players, trade some guys. It's possible, believe me. Depending on when you're watching this, we may have some clarity on Rodgers. But on Monday, Ian Rappaport reported that there had been some negotiations between Rodgers and the Packers. That's the last we've heard. So, yeah, I don't know. I expect a decision to come soon on that front. Name a player you want the Bears to draft this year. Any player, any round, does not matter. Realistic or not, you can type a name of any player you would like to see the Bears draft in 2022. Eric Stark, what do you think about possibly adding Michael Gallup? I like it. Come off an ACL, but, ACL injuries aren't as catastrophic these days. I think he's a textbook number 2 receiver. Mooney's not a true number 1, at least yet, but him and Gallup, I think that's a good 1-2 punch. Maybe they're, 1A, 1B in this offense, and you get a proven slot guy as well. I think that would be pretty good. Love don't grow on trees. Bears now by Chat Sports. Any chance the Bears keep Damian Williams? I think there's a chance, for sure. There's certainly a chance. Do I think it's super likely? Not necessarily. I think that Damian Williams could, return to be your RB3, but I don't want to, make him a priority in this offense over Khalil Herbert. I'll tell you that right now. Adam Ruse, I think we should focus on the offensive line and defensive backs in free agency and get a receiver in the draft. What do you think? O-line and defensive backs, free agency, receiver in the draft. I think you got to get at least one receiver in free agency. You can't enter the draft with Darnell Mooney and no one else. That's just not an option for me. So that's kind of my thought on that front. Super chat from Adrian. Bears need to bring back Jakeem and Hicks. I'd like to bring Jakeem Grant back. I think is like a number 4 receiver and your special teams guy. Really good player. I think he can be used more in the offense as a gadget piece. Hicks, for the right price, I'd consider bringing him back. The injuries are the big problem there. The last 2 years, he's missed 20 games in the last 3 seasons. That's a lot. It's a lot of games missed for Akiem Hicks. Be sure to follow me on IG. It's at HGramNFL, at HGramNFL. And once we cross 2,500 followers, we'll cook up another Instagram Live, so give me a follow over there. And, of course, subscribe to the channel for more Chicago Bears videos.